Welcome. We welcome you to the fifth in a series of webinars throughout the summer and fall in hopes of giving you some insight into what Make-A-Wish is and the impact that our organization has on sick children and their families. I'm Richard Kelly, the COO of Make-A-Wish Southern Florida, and I'm honored to be hosting this discussion today. The words that Wish kids and their families have used to describe their Wish experiences have included joy, hope, impact, and others. They have also called them magical, for the special experience that a wish creates and the positive effects that a wish has for days, weeks, and years to come. Both of our panelists today have described their wishes as magical, which makes sense because they got to travel to Orlando and have the Disney Wish experience. Disney is one of our outstanding national partners, and the wish they create are memorable, impactful, and well, magical. Way back around 2000, Chloe was a 6-year-old girl who was diagnosed with Wilms tumor and was scheduled to undergo months of grueling therapy to try and treat her disease. She wasn't particularly excited about it, but did so because what would happen if she did? She would get to experience the wish of a lifetime at Walt Disney World. At 7, Remi was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer, and she was facing surgeries and months of radiation. She and her family saw her wish as the light at the end of the tunnel. And when she was feeling better, she and her sister and parents headed from Tampa to Orlando for 6 days that she would never forget. Today, we'll also hear from Amy McClintock of Give Kids the World Village, our outstanding partner for all of our Disney wishes, and she'll provide her perspective on the Disney experience and what they do to create once-in-a-lifetime experiences for our Wish kids and their families. Welcome to everybody. Before we get started, I'd just like to remind you that if you have any questions or comments for any of us, type them in the Q&A section at the bottom of your screen, and we'll try to answer or get to as many of those as we can throughout today's session. So let's go to our panelists. Chloe, so tell me a little bit about your journey. I mentioned about your illness and the challenges that you were having with therapy or treating it, but just tell us in your own words, please.
Yeah, so like Richard said, I was diagnosed with Wilms tumor when I was 5, and I went through 6 months of chemotherapy and had one of my kidneys removed. So it was a lot of doctor's visits, a lot of sitting in the pediatric center, receiving my chemotherapy, a lot of blood work, which I was not a fan of, but I started the journey of my wish in that time. And I just remember every time that I would get blood work done or have to sit in the doctor's office, it was always like, think of Disney, think of what we're going to do on your wish. So do you want me to get into like what my wish was or not yet?
Sure.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So my wish was to have a tea party with all the princesses in Disney World. And Disney wasn't something that I had never been to. I actually went probably more often than a normal child would. My mom took me almost like every month for a year or so, I think, just to like lift my spirits. And it was my favorite place in the world. And so when I had a chance to decide on my wish, I think it was a little shocking to my family that I would pick Disney. They were like, oh gosh, you've been there so many times, but it was like more than any other Disney trip I've ever been on. It was amazing. We stayed at Give Kids the World, like Richard had mentioned. And it's basically like, you can see there, me and my brother, that's the ice cream shop. And I remember that distinctly. So you would eat ice cream in these giant ice cream bowls outside. You would have breakfast in like a dollhouse where the waitresses were dressed up as rag dolls. There was an arcade. There was a mayor who was a bunny rabbit who would tuck us in at night. And like there was a present fairy. But the amazing part of it was like something for my whole family. And I think that was actually during the tea party itself. And I talked to my brother about it yesterday. And even though I had been to Disney so many times, the wish where everything was taken care of, it was things that you could never do, like getting that much attention from, I think with Jasmine and Belle. Belle was my like end all be all. They were all eyes on me and my brother. I mean, I remember we made jokes about the princesses flirting with my older brother when he was 10 and like, oh, look, all these girls around you. And it was just like that one-on-one time that I don't think you could even like pay an amount of money to get that in Disney World, like take them away from their posts in Magic Kingdom or wherever we were. So it was amazing. And even to this day, I still, like, when I think back to being sick, I don't think that much about the needles and the chemo. I think more about my wish when I think of that time since I was so young. I think that just says a lot to the impact of the wish and the fact that that's what I remember most. I think that's what my family remembers a lot of. And to this day, my mom and I, we go to Disney every single year to like honor the anniversary of my wish. Never missed a year. Even during COVID, we found a way to like not go to the park, but just put a little Disney into our lives.
That's beautiful. And Remi, same question for you. I know, you were 7 at the time you were diagnosed, or 6 at the time you were diagnosed, and we're undergoing some pretty brutal treatment. But your family said, took an attitude that they weren't going to focus on that. They were going to focus on life and health and happiness, and that's right around when your wish was granted.
Yeah. So when I was 7, I was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer called rhabdomyosarcoma. So like Chloe, I went through a lot of treatment. My treatment was 1 year of chemotherapy, I had 2 major surgeries, blood transfusions, 6 weeks of daily radiation. So I was really going through it, and it was really hard to think of the positives. But like Richard said, my family and we always had a really positive mindset going through everything. We tried to make it like I wasn't sick, and we tried to just make everything as normal as possible. But as always, like sometimes that is hard to do. And I remember when my wish was coming up, it was really just like a glimmer of hope, not only for me, but for my family too. Like Chloe, we went to Disney growing up all the time. It was something we loved to do. All of my favorite memories are from Disney. And so getting to go to Disney, as simple as it sounds now, I'm in Tampa, so it's like an hour away. It's as simple as it sounds now. It was a huge milestone for us to go there when I was so sick. And it really made us feel like things were kind of getting back to normal. And I went on my wish in April, and I was declared cancer-free in July. So it was kind of towards the end of my journey. So I was trying to start feeling better. I was still going through all my treatments, but I was kind of on the tail end of it. And I think that helped so much too, that we all were able to enjoy it. And like Chloe said, it was just a completely different experience from when you go just as a normal person going to Disney. My wish specifically was to meet Minnie Mouse. I loved Minnie. So I actually got to me and my whole family had a private meet and greet with Mickey and Minnie. And that was so cool. They did the whole autograph thing, and we got to spend some time with them, which was so cool. As like a 7-year-old little girl, like having a private time with Mickey and Minnie was just awesome. And then something else cool we got to do is me and my whole family were the grand marshals of the parade. So the parade was always something I loved at Disney, and we actually got to ride in the parade, and we're like the leaders of it and waving in the carts and all of that. So that was really cool and something I'll never forget. Even my family to this day, they're like, that is just the coolest thing ever. So yeah, see, there's me waving to the crowd. So it was really awesome, and definitely one of my favorite memories from when I was sick, and the highlights of when I was sick is being able to have this experience with Make-A-Wish. And it really, I think, made an impact on my recovery and just throughout my life now. Like I'm here talking about how wonderful it was, because it really did make such a difference.
That's excellent. So, your wish was while you were still in active treatment. Do you remember why you all decided to do that as opposed to waiting until treatment was over?
So I actually was talking to my family about it last night, because I was kind of wondering the same thing. You know, since I was 7, I don't remember a lot because I was so young. But my dad was actually saying, it was in between my chemotherapy treatments. I was feeling really good, and they were just like, let's do it. Like, it was just that mindset thing where it's like, it would make all of us feel good. It was that positive thing to look forward to, something just to like make us happy. Everybody loves Disney. I always say that. It's like Disney puts a smile on everybody's face, no matter how old you are. And it was just one of those things where my family and I were just like, we just want to do it now and like have something fun and happy to do in the midst of all of this sad and trying times that we were going through.
Well, speaking of happy, Give Kids the World is a happy place. And I know, Chloe, you and your family stayed there when you were in Orlando. And I'd like to bring in Amy McClintock, the Director of Mission Delivery and Outreach at Give Kids the World, to talk a little bit about the relationship between Make-A-Wish and Disney and the part that Give Kids the World plays. They play such an important part in providing these experiences and facilitating these experiences. And the Give Kids the World Village just outside Orlando is such a beautiful facility. Amy, can you welcome, and can you just talk a little bit about, tell us a little bit about Give Kids the World for the educated or uneducated about the organization?
Sure, thank you. So we have an 89-acre resort here in Kissimmee that has 166 villas to accommodate Wish families that are traveling into the area for their Wish trip. So you heard Chloe mention earlier about Give Kids the World, and really we're here just to provide the accommodation for Wish families. So it's a pretty exclusive resort, and we work specifically with Wish granting organizations, of course, like our friends at Make-A-Wish.
And tell us what some of the perks that you guys provide. I mean, we know that the Wish families get to go to the parks, and they go to all the Orlando parks actually. But Give Kids World is almost its own park, its own attraction, and so much of what the Wish kids tell us about isn't just about Disney, but it's about the Give Kids the World experience. So what do they get to experience when they're at your facility?
We have our own attractions and rides. We've got 4 rides that they can go on. We also have all of our own entertainment programs and characters. You heard Chloe mention Mayor Clayton. He's a 6-foot-tall bunny rabbit. He also has a wife, Miss Mary, but they have a whole collection of friends around to Give Kids the World that are here to entertain the families. We also have our ice cream shop, which you saw the picture there from Chloe's trip. That, unfortunately, the ice cream palace is no longer on the avenue, but we now have Henry's Starlight Scoops as a tribute to our founder, Henry Landworth. And we serve ice cream from 7:30 in the morning to 9:30 at night. So you can have ice cream for breakfast, lunch, and dinner if you'd like. And then as it relates to the parks, we do provide guest assistance passes for the families, which will give them an expedited wait time for all of the rides. So they'll be able to do a lot more at the parks than they normally would be able to do if they were traveling on their own.
And I'm sure in your 10 plus years at Give Kids the World, you've met some Make-A-Wish families along the way and have heard stories and experienced what their journey is like. Can you just let us know 1 or 2 of the most memorable experiences or interactions that you had with Wish families?
Sure. We had a young man named Micah come from Illinois, actually, Make-A-Wish, Illinois. And he was a tall, strapping high school boy. And his wish was to come to Disney, but his wish granters kept pushing and asking more questions to understand why, what was the heart of the wish. And Micah explained that he felt invisible amongst his classmates. And if you could see his photo, it would be hard to understand how anyone his size, he was a big, big kid, could feel that way. But he did. And so he felt like coming to Disney would make him feel like a king for the day. So Make-A-Wish Illinois reached out to us and said, can you help us? We know he's going to have a great time at Disney, but can Give Kids the World do something extra special to make his trip even that much more exciting and make him feel like a king for the day? So of course we said yes. We're not very good at saying no here, so we always find a way to say yes. And we worked with our partners at Medieval Times, which is just down the street from the village, and they brought all of their knights and princesses down. And at our Pirates and Princesses party, which we host on Friday evenings here, Micah was crowned King Micah. And you can tell, sorry, I have his photo in my office. You can tell on his face, something happened for him in that experience. We had a red carpet, they crowned him, the whole 9 yards. And he helped host our party that night. Later, his mom wrote back to Make-A-Wish Illinois and said that she felt like just that experience alone gave him the confidence that he needed to go back to school amongst his classmates. So, the wish is so much bigger than just the little, what is the heart of the wish? It could often be much bigger and much more impactful than just meeting some characters and going on rides, while that is super important too.
Thank you. That's a beautiful story. And I'm sure there's there's hundreds of others that if we had 5 webinars, we could go through all of them. But I thank you for joining us today. Can you just tell our audience, well, there we see Chloe's star. Can you just talk about the stars that each of the Wish Kids leaves behind?
Sure. So each Wish child gets a little gold star. You'll see Chloe's here, and they can bring that star into the Castle of Miracles, which is a venue here at the village. They can write their name on their star, draw a picture, whatever they want to do to represent themselves. And then they put their star in the Star Fairy's box. Stellar, the Star Fairy, flies down into the box. They actually, the box lights up and shakes so they know she's in there. Then when she flies out, she shows them that she has their star. That night, she hangs their star in the galaxies of the castle, and that way the family can always come back and visit the star. So it's just a really nice way for the Wish child to leave a small piece of themselves here at Give Kids the World, and you can imagine it becomes very important to the family. We wanted to surprise Chloe seeing her star because she mentioned that she wasn't able to find it the last time she was here, so I wanted to assure her that Stellar the Star Fairy is taking good care of it. So it is here, Chloe, so the next time you're here, we'll love to show that to you in person.
Wow, yeah, I haven't seen that since I was 6. That's awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, of course.
Perfect. Well, thank you again, Amy, for being here. And then can you just tell the audience how they can get in touch with Give Kids the World? And I know you guys offer tours for people that are in Orlando and would like to see what Give Kids the World is all about.
Yeah, certainly. So our website is gktw.org, like givekidstheworld.org. And certainly we'd love to show off the village. We do have an exciting event coming up for the holiday season, Night of a Million Lights. So if you are in the area, if you get to our website, you'll see a link off to that. But it's a great opportunity to experience the village for yourself and also have some holiday fun in a year that we could really look forward to something like that. And real quick, I did want to mention, Richard, over the last 30 some odd years, we've hosted nearly 2,000 families from Make-A-Wish Southern Florida alone. And in our history, 176,000 families. So we do appreciate you all entrusting your families to us and allowing us to partner with you in this exciting journey of the Wish.
Absolutely. And as long as we're able to grant wishes and grant them safely, which we're looking forward to doing, we're looking forward to sending kids back there because we know you guys are going to take such good care of them. Well, thank you for being here, and best of luck, and hopefully we'll send some kids your way very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. So Remi, you briefly mentioned about your wish and the treatment as you're undergoing treatment and what the wish did for you and for that recovery. Can you just elaborate on that a little bit more? Because we have heard that wish families tell us that the wish is an important part of a child's treatment and recovery.
Yeah. So, I mean, going through cancer at such a young age, it really takes a toll not only on you as the person that has it or just the family itself. And like I said, my family always did try and think of the positives in things, but sometimes that was hard. And having that wish really gave us something to look forward to. I mean, when you have cancer at such a young age, not many of your peers or your friends know what it is, understand what it is. You kind of feel like the odd man out, like you have no hair, you have to miss school. It's like you don't really feel like a normal kid. And going to Disney and like experiencing all of that, it really helped me and my family feel normal again. And it was that glimmer of hope for us that we had something to look forward to, like the normal life coming out of this and the light at the end of the tunnel of all of it. And it really made such an impact on us and kept that positive attitude going forward through the rest of my treatment. And now I'm 14 years cancer free. I still remember this wish. And last summer, I actually got to intern in the Tampa office, which was so full circle for me. I loved every minute of it. And it just really is a testament to how much I feel like Make-A-Wish helps families and helped my family and made me want to give back, and still giving back by sharing my story with you guys. And it just really gives that light of hope for the families that have wishes.
And I know you mentioned to me that a part of that internship, or part of the benefit of that internship, was you might make a career out of helping other people. And I know you're in the MBA program now. So do you see that nonprofit work or charity work might be in your future?
I think it might be definitely. I love helping others and giving back. And, you know, I always say that a lot of people that have went through what I went through are doctors or nurses, but I kind of want to do something where it was the fun memories, not the memories in the hospital. So that's what leads me or led me to interning with Make-A-Wish. And I interned at UF Health in Gainesville. Is just having those fun memories and being a part of those for kids who are sick is so cool and something I definitely hope to do in my future.
Excellent. And Chloe, I know you mentioned about going back to Disney and making it an annual ritual with your mom. And I also learned about a countdown clock that she has, counting down to the day that you go back each year. Can you talk a little bit about your mom's countdown clock and what and why you look forward to it? I mean, I know it's the anniversary of your wish, but why is that date so important even 20 years later?
Yeah, it just brings us back, I think, to a time of like being so excited. It just brings you back to feeling like a little kid. Like Remi said, like everyone's happy when they go to Disney. So there's been a few years, I think, where her or I or both of us were going through like some rough times over my adult life, and just having that moment when we know we're going to go back, like kind of everything else goes away. We do all the children's rides still and still have lunch at Crystal Palace, like exactly the same schedule every single time. It never changes. And I love that because it's just like a moment in time that we're able to think back to and think like, wow, look how far we've come. I mean, it's been 20 years now since my wish. So, and I live in Chicago and she lives in Florida. So it's just like that moment that we can come back.
Remi, if there's one thing you would want people to know about Make-A-Wish that they might not know or might know the wrong thing about, what would you tell them?
I think I would tell them that it really makes a difference in the lives of not only the kid that or the child that is undergoing the illness that they have, but in the whole family too. Looking back on it now, I realize how special it is that my sister was included in everything, and like it was a family affair, and it really makes an impact and brings in that positivity that you really need in such a dark time. And no matter what it is, a wish could be anything. One of my best friends when I was sick, her wish was to get a MacBook. And I remember she used it at the hospital to watch movies, and she also used it for school. So it can be anything. And that MacBook gave her so much happiness. So, you know, it just really impacts the positivity and the outlook on your wish. It makes you have something to look forward to. And I think that just really makes all of the difference.
Just a reminder to our audience, if you have any questions for Remi or Chloe, type them in the Q&A box, and we'll get to as many of them as we can. Chloe, the same question for you. If there's one thing you'd want people to know about Make-A-Wish, what would it be?
I think just the idea that I mentioned earlier of that a wish can really change a kid's perspective on what's going on later in life. Like when I say I look back at my wish, and Make-A-Wish is what I think about. Rather than thinking about being scared or sick or any of those bad memories, it really just shifted my perspective. And I know Richard knows kind of the quote that has lingered with me with Make-A-Wish South Florida, that when I was little, I think the next year, I think it was, after I had had my kidney removal and my surgeries, I have a large scar across my stomach. And I was changing for dance at school, and I remember a girl asked like what it was, and I said like very matter-of-factly like, oh, I had cancer, because I didn't really think anything scary of it. And she was like, don't kids die from cancer? And the way I responded was, no, they don't die from cancer, you get to meet princesses. And that's like truly what I thought, and that's all because of Make-A-Wish.
I still remember that story. Your mom uses that story. She's spoken for us on many occasions, and has told that story, and it just so speaks to the impact and the innocence that children have about their illness and what their illness can turn into, and that is a wish from Make-A-Wish. We have a question from one of our attendees that says, what would you say to wish kids now waiting for their Disney wishes? And they're waiting because of COVID, not for any other reason. So Remi, can you answer that question?
I would just say to keep holding on to that hope. Your wish will come. I know it's really hard with everything going on right now to stay positive, but just keep thinking of how fun it will be and just be reminded that it's coming. It's not canceled. It's just being postponed a little bit just so it's so safe for you, and it's all to make the experience the best for you. So right now it wouldn't be safe for you to go. So going now, I mean, waiting is better, and it will be even better than you ever imagined once you get there.
Chloe, same question. What would you say to the children? I know you're actively working with our Illinois chapter, and you're a wish granter. What if one of those wish kids said, "I want to go to Disney World," and they have to wait?
Yeah, so I have a wish kid right now in Illinois who does want to go to Orlando to some of the parks. And it's one of two things, either like what Remi said, where if they want their wish to be in Disney, a lot of the heart of the wish, like Amy mentioned, is going to be some of those things where we want it to be more normal in Disney for them to be able to experience those moments and like the close moments with the characters. Like a lot of that is something that can't happen right now. So it's going to be that much more magical when they're able to go. And like some kids are even getting more creative with the ideas of their wish, and it can still involve Disney and characters, but maybe it like we bring it to them or something and it's still Disney themed. So I think it's been very important to get to the heart of the wish with kids right now and understand why they're wanting that, but they'll have an amazing experience either way.
We have another question that says, when someday when you have kids and when you bring them to Disney World, how emotional is that going to be? Chloe, you first.
I don't think I'm going to be emotional because I would be so excited. I've talked about this with my mom. I think the last time we were there, we talked about like, I'm probably going to be more excited to show them Disney and like everything that we've done over the years than they will be to be there. And my mom wants to come along. And I see Disney being a big part of my family's future for like the rest of time.
Remi, same question about bringing kids to Disney World when they're your own, based off your Disney experience.
I think it would definitely just be surreal. I mean, even before my wish, Disney was such a huge part of my childhood. We would go all the time. We would skip school and go. And my parents would be like, let's just go. So it would be so cool. And then even to share with my future kids what I went through and how I had my wish at Disney, and here are the places. That's me and my dad on our birthdays a few years ago. So it'd just be the coolest thing, and just really full circle, totally just awesome.
We have another question. Is if you could make a wish today, what would it be? Remi, you first.
So I've actually thought about this because when I was interning last summer, I got to see how creative these children are these days with their wishes. I know somebody went to Amsterdam and took pictures of these beautiful flowers, and I went on a Mediterranean cruise. So, I think I might do something like that, like maybe go to Europe and travel abroad, but I guess right now that wouldn't happen. But I mean, I say that now, but looking back, I definitely wouldn't have changed what my wish was because it was the best thing and exactly what I needed at the time. But I think now, maybe if I had the wish right now, I would probably go abroad and travel.
What about you, Chloe?
Mine would be the same. I mean, like I said, I would never replace it. But I love now like anything tropical and like I love like islands. I would love to do kind of what you said, like a Mediterranean trip where I was able to do like water activities and explore like different nature sites in a tropical setting. So probably something around that.
Hey, one final question is, if you had to describe Make-A-Wish to somebody who never heard of the organization, how would you describe it? Chloe, you first.
I would say that Make-A-Wish, and I think this has become much more part of the mission statement over the years, even in the like 3.5 years I've been on the associate board in Illinois, is that it's not a last wish, it's a lasting wish. And I think it's the idea of giving a child with a critical illness hope of something to look forward to, and then a wish that gives them a memory to hold on to for them and their whole family to take with them throughout their life and kind of change their perspective of the time.
And Remi, if you met somebody who knew nothing about Make-A-Wish but asked you, what is Make-A-Wish all about? What would you tell them?
I think I would say something similar to Chloe. I definitely feel like it is a glimmer of hope for children and families going through some of the toughest times. And it really is just an amazing distraction from what's going on and gives them such joy and positivity and such a hard time in their life. So I think it just is just an organization that provides joy and hope to families going through really, really rough times.
Okay, and finally, thank you. And finally, for both of you, you have an opportunity now with the people that are in attendance today and the people who will eventually watch this to speak directly to them about their contributions to the organization and what it has meant for your life. And because we talk about Make-A-Wish being a life-changing organization, a life-impacting organization, and clearly your wishes have impacted your lives. So you have an opportunity to speak directly to those people that are attending today and may eventually watch this webinar to let them know how much it has impacted. So Chloe, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I would say that, I mean, clearly I think I've expressed how much it's impacted myself and my family and just like lasted for 20 plus years. But especially right now, I think it's really important. I'm trying to come up with my own creative ways to fundraise. Being a wish granter, there's kids who still need wishes right now. And like the question that someone asked, it's a really hard time to be going through an illness and to be a kid right now and all the uncertainty of a pandemic, but also not being like a normal, healthy child. I think they need our help more now than ever. And fundraising is going to be more tough, but I think it's important to keep getting the word out. Anyone who can do like something small of a donation or plan. I know we're planning some small events in Chicago just to keep the word of Make-A-Wish around, even without the big galas, and just make sure that we're able to provide those kids still and not just have a backup next year of kids waiting and waiting for wishes when they really need it now. And they really need it while, like Remi said, they're going through the toughest times of their treatment.
Thank you. Remi?
I would say the same. I mean, first off, thank you to everybody who has ever donated or contributed, because it really makes such a difference. As you can tell from me and Chloe talking here today, it's impacted us 15, 20 years down the road. And it really is something so special and unique. And kids are still sick right now, and they still need the wishes. They still need that glimmer of hope. If anything, they need the glimmer of hope more than ever right now, because there's so much, it's so hard to be positive in the world that we're in right now. And I would just say, don't forget that there are hundreds and thousands of kids that are being diagnosed with illnesses every single day. And just because there's a global pandemic doesn't mean that's over. So I would just say, don't forget about everything else that's also going on too, because there are so many people that need help, especially these kids and these families that are going through such a hard time, and they need that hope and they need that joy, and Make-A-Wish really, really does provide that for them.
Beautifully said. Thank you. And I want to thank Chloe and Remi for being here. Also, Amy McClintock from Give Kids the World for being here with us today. I think it's appropriate to wrap up with two comments that we've gotten in our Q&A box. One says, after all these many years, my heart continues to burst with joy to see Chloe all grown up and still excited due to the impact of her wish. Give Kids the World is Make-A-Wish's best partner in magic and joy. Love today's interview. Thank you, Make-A-Wish Southern Florida. And we had another comment that said, I just want to say thank you for sharing your stories. Hearing your stories makes volunteering for Make-A-Wish just that much better and so worth it. So Remi and Chloe, we thank you so much for sharing your stories today, for being still an important part of our organization all these years later. Look forward to working with you guys to share our message, this important message of hope, strength, joy to our constituents, supporters, donors, volunteers, and all those affiliated with Make-A-Wish. We thank everybody who attended and asked such great questions and comments. If you know someone who was unable to attend today's session, You can find it shortly on our YouTube channel. Search Make-A-Wish SFLA. Also be on the lookout for an invitation to our next webinar, Wish Kids to Give Back, on November 18th via Zoom at 11:30 a.m. Thank you.